Hello and welcome to a review on the Fenix 8. This is the 43mm and I think this is the best Garmin watch that you can buy if you're looking to get a Fenix 8. In this video we're going to dive into the top 10 reasons why I think this is the best Garmin Fenix 8. So number one reasons of what makes this one of the best watches that you can buy is the screen size. So specifically on the 43mm model, you're going to get a fantastic screen to body ratio. So this is going to get quite nerdy. So this has got a 1.3 inch screen, and considering this is the smallest Fenix 8 you can buy, that's absolutely mind boggling. And what's even more confusing is that if you get this watch, this is the AMOLED 43mm, it actually has a bigger screen than the 47mm Garmin Fenix 8. So yeah, it's a smaller watch but has a bigger screen than this solar version, which I think is absolutely awesome. And that makes tasks such as using the maps really pleasurable to use, and yeah, whilst maintaining that comfortability of the watch. In terms of millimeters, this is going to make this watch almost 3mm bigger than the small version last year. So if you had the Garmin Fenix 7S Pro or 6S and you're upgrading to this small Fenix 8, you're going to get a 3mm bigger screen, and it's only going to be 2mm shorter than the 51mm Fenix 8. So that's a lot of measurements there, all to say basically that this is a fantastic screen to body ratio, a very comfortable watch to wear. Number two reasons of why this is a fantastic watch is the comfort, and you're going to get so much more comfort in this 43mm compared to the medium Fenix 8 and the massive Fenix 8. This feels correct on the wrist. Here I'm wearing Suunto's Race S, and they've just brought out a titanium model, but what I liked about this watch was how comfortable it does feel on the wrist. Not only can you use this for sports, but it feels like something that you can go out as a dress watch and not look like you've got like a satellite dish strapped to your wrist. So this is the Garmin Instinct 2X Solar. Yeah, the Fenix 8 43mm, which is the women's or the small men's size watch, is fantastic. It feels like the Race S, to be honest. A little bit more top heavy, but we're only talking like a couple of grams difference here, and a small difference in the casing size as well. Yeah, if you want to stick with Garmin, this is the most comfortable Fenix 8 you can buy for sure. And if you're someone who's into strength training, HIIT training, boxer size, anything where there's lots of wrist flexion, that's when having a smaller sports watch really comes into action, because you're not going to have a watch that's like when you bend your wrist is clicking buttons or feels super uncomfortable when you're doing push-ups. Yeah, this is great for HIIT workouts, high rocks, and yeah, anyone who likes gym I think might want to cater towards the smaller Fenix 8. So number three reasons why this is a fantastic watch is the mapping features, and again paired with that 1.3 inch screen and the comfortable form factor, okay battery life, you're getting a fantastic mapping experience. So if you're not used to what mapping is like on the Fenix 8, this is completely offline, so you don't need to be connected to the phone in your pocket or anything like that. You don't have to pay a subscription or pay for like LTE, it just works. So this has offline mapping, you can get lost in the wilderness, go backcountry hiking, or just go for a trail run in the middle of nowhere, and this is always going to keep you on track. And one thing I've really found, it has a super accurate GPS. If you want to learn more about the GPS, stay tuned. But some of my favorite mapping features are the fact that you can open up this map, scroll away from your location to anywhere on the map, click the destination that you want to navigate to, and it's going to calculate turn by turn navigation without needing to get your phone out and all of that stuff. So it's really cool. It also has a round trip course feature, and that means if you're in a destination where you don't really know your surroundings, maybe you've gone on holiday, you can ask Garmin to create you a 5k or 10k plot. It's going to create it within seconds and off you go. It's going to be fully mapped and have all the turn by turn directions on there for you and take you on a little adventure. So I think that's really cool. And I guess my last favorite feature about the mapping is the Climb Pro, and there's so much mapping features that you can dive into on the Fenix 8. So if you want to learn more about that, check out my specific video. It's like 20 minutes long and I go into everything this can do with regards to mapping. But Climb Pro has been fantastic. When I'm in ultra marathons such as the Spine Race, UTMB Snowdonia or UTMB Arc of Attrition, knowing how many climbs you've got left until that finish line is super useful. And yeah, knowing how far into the climb you are makes it really easy to pace yourself. In fact, it was probably Snowdonia where this come most handy. Some of the 4 reasons to get the 43mm Fenix 8 by Garmin is the style. I actually think this is the most stylish looking Fenix 8 that you can get. It's all kind of blended in. If you notice the accent button here, a lot of the accents on the other watches have like a bright orange or a bright yellow. I don't know what's going on, but this one's kind of carbon, which is really nice. It blends into the watch. There's nothing kind of obnoxious or jumping out at you, and it just looks like a professional piece of kit when it's being worn on the wrist. So I think the style of this watch is fantastic. The band as well, the style is good because you've gone for that smaller watch, it just looks like less of a beefier satellite on your wrist. You've got the Instinct 2X here versus the Fenix A, and yeah, satellite versus a dress watch that looks appropriate to wear out in society other than when you're on the trails. Number 5 reasons to get this tiny Fenix 8 43mm is the flashlight. The flashlight coming to the smaller models is something that, yeah, we've got to give Garmin a lot of praise for. They used to kind of withhold this feature just for the 51mm, like the bigger watches. So yeah, to see this on the Fenix 8 and have it just as powerful and just as strong as, yeah, all of the other Garmin Fenixes that you can buy, and the Enduro and everything like that, is really cool. It can be completely hands-free. When you're changing the batteries in your headlamp or getting up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, it can all come in useful, but it also has a strobe mode as well. So you can go into the menu and pull it into strobe mode. So if you're heading out at night and you want to alert drivers, maybe you're running on the road, it's really dark. It also comes in a custom mode. I can change it to a red light. So now it's strobing, but in red. Yeah, maybe if you're a cyclist, this can come in useful as well. So lots of flashlight features. If you have any questions about what the limitations are with this, leave a comment down below. Number 6 reasons to get this watch is it is durable. It is bulletproof. Not only is this a small, comfortable and sensible watch to wear that blends in with society, but it has all of those diving features that you get on the other Fenix 8s as well. This is waterproof up to 10 atmospheres, which I believe means 100 meters. You can dive down if you're capable of doing that, 100 meters, and yeah, this watch is going to handle it just fine. So this watch is capable of recreational diving down to around 40 meters, and it's going to guide you through that process. And it's just surprising to me that they've kind of packed all of this durability into the smaller form factor, and yeah, I really like it. You'll notice you're also getting the titanium bezel. So this is made out of titanium, which makes this watch even lighter than some of the other Garmin's or different brands that you can buy watches of a similar size. And it's got sapphire glass, so you can bash this against the table. If you're doing these ultra marathons and you scrape it across like a rock or something, you're having that sapphire display is going to make it so much more protective. I've actually had a really good experience with sapphire displays. It's nice actually to wear a watch without a screen protector, get the full touchscreen experience, nothing's being dampened down, and yeah, just know that you're protected at all times. The 7 reasons to get this watch is, although it's tiny, the 43mm version, it has great battery life. Now I want to say here, take that with a pinch of salt. When I say great battery life, I mean for its size. You're roughly going to get similar battery life to the Sunto Race S, for example, a similar size watch, and the Sunto Race S has fantastic battery life. So the fact that this is on par is great. Where it kind of falls off the bandwagon a little bit is the always on display. So without always on display mode, you're going to get roughly about 10 days of battery life from what I've seen. But this issue of always on display, so if you want your watch to always tell you the time so it doesn't kind of completely turn the screen off, you're going to go down to 4 days of battery life. I've been using this in always on display mode. You're going to get 4 days of battery life if you're lucky. I think if you're training quite heavily, this is going to be a 3-day watch and then charge it. I've been using it with the heart rate tracking on, sleep tracking on, smart notifications on, it's vibrating, beeping and buzzing, and when I'm running it's talking to me, like lap 1 was slow and lap 2 was getting faster. So you've got all these speaker and mic functions as well. In terms of ultra running, what does that extrapolate to? You're going to get around 28 hours of GPS mode. So for most of you guys and girls out there, that's going to be enough to run 50k, 100k, 100 miles. This is probably not quite there. So if you're looking to do a 100-mile ultra marathon, that's where I'd say you've probably hit your limitation with the 43mm Fenix A, and you're probably looking at maybe the Enduro 3. And if you want to watch a video on that, check out my channel. What's even crazier as well is that if you leave always on display mode on for activities, it's going to drop down to 24 hours of GPS mode. So that's getting a bit rough now. So number 8 reasons to get the Garmin Fenix 8 43mm is the heart rate. So if you're getting a smaller watch and a more comfortable watch that fits on your wrist, that actually fits, what you're going to get is less bouncing when you're running out there on the trails. What does that equal? Better heart rate accuracy. And not only that, but you're getting paired with the Elevate 5 sensor. It's got ECG tracking if you're in America. If you're in the UK, it's been a year now and we still haven't got it. I don't know if it's coming. Maybe we'll get it in 2027. I don't know what the time frame is on that. But in terms of accuracy, it's been really good for a lot of sports. And if you're someone who doesn't want to be, I know I am, wearing a heart rate monitor in every exercise workout, and maybe you've got sensitive skin like me, this is fantastic. It's as good as you're going to get really for a sports watch. Is it as good as the Apple Watch Ultra? Probably not, but is it better than every other heart rate tracker on the market for sports watches? There's probably a strong case for this being the best sports watch heart rate tracker out there, and I've seen great data with it. The only limitation I'll say, if you're an ultra runner, if you're using hiking poles, or I guess a skier and skiing poles, that's when, yeah, this is useless. And number 9 things you need to know about the Garmin Fenix 8 43mm is the GPS accuracy. And if you've watched my channel, you'll know that I was the first reviewer to say that the Fenix 7 Pro GPS tracking wasn't great. I'm not gonna lie, it would cut out, it would crash on me, it would completely lose signal, I'd see weird stuff in my data. I wasn't impressed at all, and when I took this for an ultra marathon test in my hometown, I was super impressed. I actually tested it against the Suunto Race S, and Suunto are known amongst all reviewers as the best sports watch you can get if you really value GPS accuracy. But the Fenix 8 has come out of nowhere, and on my ultra marathon it actually performed better than my Suunto Race S. So it got the curves in the trail really nice, and this was in a heavily wooded area with lots of obstructions to the sky. The trees in this ultra marathon were super dense. There wasn't always a clear kind of path to the sky for the watch, so to see how these two watches battled it out and how fantastically the Garmin did, I really noticed it on river crossings. I was running through a massive forest in Norfolk and got to a river crossing and noticed that the Garmin actually plotted me across this super narrow wooden bridge, whereas the Suunto had me kind of swimming through the river. So GPS accuracy has been fantastic. I did notice that when I stopped, it did plot a few data points and kind of made my run a little bit longer. So if you're someone who stops a lot, that could be a bit of an issue, and that was something that the Suunto did better at. But yeah, in terms of just pinpoint accuracy, I'm so impressed with the improvements, 100% improvements with the Fenix 8. So number 10, this is the conclusion of why you should get the Fenix 8 43mm and why it's the best watch that Garmin do right now. It's comfortable, it's super stylish, it's really durable, and you don't compromise any of the features of those bigger models. It can go diving down to 100 meters, and it can do recreational diving down to 40 meters. It has a titanium bezel, a sapphire display. It has a 1.3-inch screen, which is bigger than some of those bigger Fenix 8 models. It has a massive screen to body ratio, and that comes in super useful when you're doing mapping and navigation out there on the trails. My only slight gripe is the battery life is super weak. I'm someone who likes to rock the always on display. If I'm training lots, I'm getting 3 days. If I'm not really training and I'm testing a few other watches, I'll get 4 or 5 days. The battery life hasn't been great, but that's a compromise you're making for getting a much more comfortable watch to wear on the wrist, and something that you can not only wear for sports and exercise, but also you use as a dress watch to look quite smart in. It doesn't look like a satellite on your wrist. It's also great for high rocks, HIIT training, on CrossFit, where when you're doing those high wrist flexion activities, you're not going to get that massive watch bulging into your hand. This almost feels like a fitness tracker or a route band where you're collecting all of that fantastic information. For example, when you go to sleep and you're wearing this watch, it just feels comfortable. You forget you're even wearing it, whereas some of those bigger watches can just be a bit of a burden, and you end up taking them off to go for your sleep, and you lose out on data. So fantastic across the board. The heart rate tracking has been really good. It's a shame that Garmin still haven't brought ECG tracking to the UK and other parts of the world. I mean, it's been over a year now since they released the Fenix 7 Pro, which debuted that technology, and I bought that watch, but it's sad to see that we were sold, oh, it's got these fantastic ECG tracking capabilities, but a year later, I'm still not able to do that in the UK with the £1,000 watch I bought last year and the £1,000 watch I bought this year. So it'd be nice if Garmin sped that up a little bit, and the GPS tracking improvements are wild. I don't think many reviewers touched on it. I know I didn't have a faulty batch because I had lots of friends and mates with like the Fenix 7 Pro, the Fenix 7X, and all of these Fenix 7 models that we'd go out hiking and the GPS would just completely lose signal, and I'd have to rely on the likes of Suunto or Coros to get me out of that situation. I've seen a massive improvement with the GPS on the Fenix 8, and it's performed even better than the Race S in my testing. So it's really cool to see Garmin working on those basics. You know, it can tell the time, it has fantastic heart rate, and it has fantastic GPS. So apart from that, if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Dreams are a step away. And remember, show compassion, show esteem, have fun out there. Peace out.